Hi guys, this is a reading for Leo. It's a really beautiful reading, and a key word in this reading is child. The whole reading is speaking to the idea that you need to reconnect with your inner child. It's the child version of you had better instincts than the adult version that you've become. We start off with the Fool. Now, the Fool's a very interesting card because people, a little bit like the Tower or the Death card in the Major Arcana, people often associate the Fool with kind of negativity. They see it as a kind of critical card. In this case, for me, this card represents the inner child. He's a little bit lost, but he's full of potential. And with that kind of innocence comes an ability in life to just go for it. And you've kind of lost that ability, that drive to just follow your instincts. You've become very conditioned by what's happened to you and by your circumstances. Like a lot of adults, you followed rules which have led you to the point that you're at now in your life. And you're trying to make a change, but you're using your adult self as a way of navigating that landscape. And actually, what you need is even your pre-adolescent self to look after you now. So my advice to you would be to tap into some past memories through meditation. Try and tap into some positive moments that happened when you were 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Think of really happy moments. I'm seeing a child in a sandpit, and he's got his hands are in the sand, and it's really joyful and innocent. And he's sort of only just understanding what sand is and what it can do and how it can create shapes. That interesting time as a child when you start to understand things that you might have done as an infant. So, you might have played with sand when you were 3, 4, but you don't really start to understand what the sand can do until you're a little bit older. So it's that moment of kind of self-discovery, of realizing that your mind can help you discover the meaning of things, or the capacity of things, like what things are able to do. When you first sort of touch sand, you might throw it or do things that aren't very constructive with it. But as a child gets older, he grows to make sandcastles. He grows to learn how to pass water through the sandcastle, that kind of energy. Using something quite basic to make something full of meaning. So go back to happier times in your childhood. Even maybe moments when your parents congratulated you on something, maybe the first time that you played the piano. Maybe you were 10 and you managed to kind of start to read music a little bit, and you managed to just sort of start to get by on the piano, and your parents were like, wow, that's really impressive. That's really, like, those kind of joyful moments when you were celebrated. That's what you need to return to here. Now, in the Judgment card, we have again that idea of adulthood versus childhood. We can see the priest and the angels, and the two children below. You know, it almost looks like they're in a bath with this older man who's looking up, and it speaks really to birth and rebirth, but not the idea of necessarily of birth and rebirth as a spiritual thing, but as an actual, tangible journey that we all go on from childhood to adulthood. But what it's asking you to do is to go from child, you've done the child to adult, now you need to go back to the child and kind of start again. You kind of need to start again, using the wisdom that you got as an adult, obviously, because that will always help you. But that playfulness that we had in our childhood, which often we forget about, we forget how to use that. We often forget how to use that energy as adults. That kind of sandpit energy, that joyful discovery of things. We need to go back to that. As an adult, you've achieved quite a lot, and you've made it financially. But in this card, I very much notice how much he's got his back to the audience. He's kind of looking out, but it's like an armor. He's not looking at us. He's looking away. He's sort of not ashamed, but his confidence is a little bit depleted. And he's sort of looking at the fountains, and he's looking at his land, and he's a little bit, this is actually a card of prosperity, but in this reading, I'm seeing it as someone who's not entirely content as an adult. Now, the Death card also came up, which obviously speaks of rebirth. And again, I see this as a kind of adult skeleton that's kind of lost its fuel, lost its muscle, lost its kind of will to live. You've just been sort of stripped. And that's kind of what you need to do as an adult. You need to sort of strip yourself of almost your adult being in order to reveal something younger, something newer, something that harks back to, the person you were 20 years ago, or 30 years ago, or longer, whatever, however old you are, It will depend on the person, but the central energy, we have the universe, and it's funny because she's quite sort of genderless, this person. I think she's meant to be a woman, but I see her also as a young boy, as a young man. She's the life force, she's the sun, she's the birth, she's the opposite of death. Yeah, she's literally birth. The beginning, right? The beginning of time, the beginning of your journey on this planet. That's what she signifies, the germination point, the moment when you went from, not being here to being here. Your first steps on the land. The first leaves that started to grow on your tree, as it were. Here again we have mother and child. La mère universelle, which in French means basically, womanhood, motherhood, but in a protective capacity. Nothing can happen to you, you're protected by the turtle. It's like a shield. Nature is protecting you. Your mother's really watchful over you, and it's funny because in this card, which is you and your family, you're looking at this house again and this rainbow, and you're looking at these things that you want to like and you feel like you should like. But notice how there's quite a big distance between the husband and the wife, whereas with the child and the mother, they're really close to each other. I'd never noticed that in this card before. It's really interesting. There's a distance there. Again, this normally speaks of, this is often the marriage card, but in this instance, I don't see it like that. I see it as this father who's kind of I'm not saying you want to get divorced or you want to leave your kids behind or anything like that, but what I mean is that your adult self is standing on the other side of your child self and your mother's in the middle. And the child looks so much closer to the central female figure than the husband does. I think you're more comfortable right now being a child than you're being a father or a husband. Spiritual warrior. I think the word warrior is quite interesting because it suggests, again, strength, but it also suggests someone who's in battle and who's maybe lost. He looks quite depleted in this card. Like, it looks like you've been through quite a lot. I can see someone with sort of, I mean, with him, it's just makeup on his face, but to me in this card today, that makeup sort of looks like someone who's got big bags under their eyes. I think you're tired. I think you're tired of being an adult. I think you're tired of like jumping through the hoops and paying bills and having to kind of, do all these things that aren't really sort of serving you anymore. Like, you're a little bit kind of fed up with the whole thing. You've kind of acquired all of this wealth, but your health as a result has suffered. And you're suffering in silence. It's like you feel very alone. Just a little bit like how you feel in this card. You feel very alone. And the Fool, whilst it does suggest a kind of infantile energy, it also suggests a man who's lost, right? And who's kind of been derobed. He's got, almost chains around his ankles. He's not very happy. He looks very tired, very worn down, if you look at his face. He looks really tired. He looks really fed up, like, I need something to change. I need to be reborn as a child. The good news is that if you do follow your inner child and you sort of press the reset button and you do in your life what you actually want to be doing, victory comes. I love this card. It's like everything's pointing to the sun. Like nothing bad can happen if you let your inner child. Maybe you want to leave your job and you want to start writing a book, or maybe you want to leave your job and you want to become a gardener, or you want to farm your land, or you want to just do something that's closer to nature, that's more physical, that's simpler. And by simpler, I don't mean in terms of mental capacity, I mean more in terms of kind of daily routine. Like, I think you sort of, I'm getting an image of a man on a farm who just wants to kind of get out of bed, put on some clothes, not even shower, and like go through all of that, like shower, coffee, read the paper, get on public transport, get in the car, drive to work, all of that stuff. You kind of want to get rid of that routine. You just want to wake up and you don't even want to speak to your family. You just kind of want to open the door and walk out onto your land and just, maybe you'll just want to sit on the bench and watch the view for a bit, and then maybe you'll, harvest some vegetables, something like this. I mean, it's a metaphor, obviously, but you want to break out of your routine. You're kind of just done with this life that you've been living for the last, couple of decades, doing the same thing day in, day out, waiting for the holidays. But what if the holiday was your actual life? What if being at one in nature was your reality, right? There's no reason why that can't happen for some of you. And I think that if you don't follow this path, you will get a demotion, or you will get fired, or your business will go under, because you're not interested in jumping through the hoops anymore. You're really not. I don't see your family life falling apart. The rainbow is still here. The rainbow is still very much present in this card. You're still a family unit. you just need to switch it up a little bit. You need to focus on yourself. You need to stop thinking about paying bills and looking after your family, because your family will be fine. In your new life, you will still have some kind of wealth. It's just the wealth that you've got right now, you're not really that interested by. You're not interested in the house and the land that you're interested in the house and the land, but you're not interested in how you're paying for it. Your mode of production, the way you finance your life, has to change. And with that, your activity will change, and your purpose will change, and the meaning of your life will change. And you will become completely replenished, and you will feel very childlike and angelic again. Your innocence will return. There'll be a deep sense of purification that comes with this process, very cleansing. Very cleansing. It's funny because in this card now I see a man who's sort of standing on the edge of water, and he just kind of wants to jump in the water and like take all his clothes off and just like wash himself, rid himself of the past and all these chains. The chains need to come off. The chains need to come off, guys. So Leo, it sounds a bit scary, but actually it's wonderful, because you're going to sort of be reborn as a child again, but with your adult wisdom and with your knowledge and your capacity for success. I mean, victory is I mean, the last card pulled out was victory. So there's no reason why this life change needs to be ominous. There's no reason for that. It should be a cause for deep celebration. In your lesson card, you have to know and to forget. To forget and to know. Yeah, you have to sort of uncondition yourself. You have to sort of unlearn what you learned as an adult and just go back to the beginning again. So yeah, change of career for sure. But more than just change of career, change of purpose, change of lifestyle, change of meaning, change of energy, change of, really a rebirth, but something that's healthy, that's going to bring health. You've got the wheel of medicine, which is quite interesting, because that suggests often some health problems, like minor health problems, nothing crazy, but maybe a little bit of arthritis, maybe a little bit of a bad back. Maybe your eyes are feeling really dry from looking at a computer too much. Maybe even your throat chakra is a little bit, needs a rest. Maybe you're talking too much to your family or on the phone. Maybe you need to be talking to yourself, not to other people all the time. It's exhausting you. So just keep an eye on your health. There's nothing major to worry about, just little things. And this rebirth will just allow you to get some rest, and it'll reset you. It'll reset you. It's really exciting. So go for it. Don't be scared, because yeah, victory's coming. Okay, that's it from me, guys. Lovely to talk to you, and see you again soon. Bye.